Do understand that when it comes to our relationships, we are going to go where we are appreciated and where we are respected. And if his woman shames or boxes or insults him into whatever, how she thinks he should think about things in a particular situations, then it explains why so many men marry out or go get their passports.
Before we start today's video, guys, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to cop your official copy of Mike the PI's Quick Guide for Empowering Black Men to Travel More, written by yours truly, available in paperback form, as well as ebook, available on Amazon.com. If you look at the description, the link in the description there below, you'll see the copy of the book. Make sure you go get your copy. Definitely one hell of a read. Let's go ahead and get into today's video. Sponsored by myself.
When they're telling y'all to go to therapy, it's not for us, it's for y'all sad motherfuckers. Go to therapy, talk about that on your chest. You don't have to choke shit down no more. Y'all are doing a disservice to yourself. And so let me sum this shit.
She actually brings up some great points here. The more words that you have in your vocabulary to summarize exactly what you're feeling so you can better pinpoint and address the issue, it's actually a good thing. But that's just a portion of the issue. The other portion is that we cannot fully express ourselves with women without being ridiculed, ostracized, lambasted, clowned, and shamed for our thoughts, feelings, and ideologies. This is why Kevin's platform blew up, because for the first time ever, there was a place for men to congregate to have their feelings, thoughts, and emotions validated. So while I bang with the point of black men going to therapy to talk things out, do understand that when it comes to our relationships, we are going to go where we are appreciated and where we are respected. And if his woman shames or boxes or insults him into whatever, how she thinks he should think about things in a particular situations, then it explains why so many men marry out or go get their passports.
Well, hello.
Hey there.
It's your friendly neighborhood therapist who thought she could save these hoes, but got her job terminated as a result. Story time? I think yes.
Sure, let's go.
Shit you not, I posted a video on Monday telling men that their dusty behavior is only harming them and that they would benefit from emotional intelligence, and I not by Friday didn't have employment. All of this started with a Psychology Today article stating that men are lonelier than ever because they have no emotional skills. And I agreed and doubled down and told y'all that y'all lives would radically improve if you expanded shit that came out your mouth. But instead of healing, y'all will do anything but that. Instead of being accountable like, hey, this bitch stirred a little bit, y'all got so hurt that you contacted massa. That's exactly what happened.
I really can't believe she brought up the word accountability in this entire rant. Ma'am, if I owned a therapy practice and I saw your video with all of your cuss words, all of your lack of professionalism, I would have fired you too. You represent your practice. And for you to think that a professional establishment whose business centers around fixing mental health issues would watch your video and tolerate your behavior is completely absurd. But you cop out and blame black men as opposed to that same massa that made that firing decision. Textbook unaccountability. You talk about black men needing to up their emotional intelligence. Will you, ma'am, need to up your professional intelligence?
So first the post goes viral on Twitter because y'all need help and y'all wanted to argue with blue till they blue in the face. Some of you hoes is not going to be saved, and that's the conclusion that I've come to. So because it's on viral, I'm thinking, okay, cool, we starting a discussion on mental health and people are, you might not like delivery, but my is starting to talk, you know, shaking the tables. I don't give a But then it turns into this entire crusade of attacking a black woman who serves the black community.
Here we go.
There were comments like, I'm gonna find her credentials and report her because I told y'all to be better. Yeah, y'all are weird. Y'all scream that y'all want to protect women, protect black women specifically, but have done nothing to protect this black woman who has been serving the communities. I have been violated in several areas, and I'm going to outline each one.
They want you. They want you to protect them by any means necessary, as if there's not a type of personality that deserves more protection. Like, whatever they do, they just want you to jump in the fire with them. You understand me? Just is what it is. Absurd.
This article was written by a fucking black woman, putting my full government and my place of employment. So being doxxed by a black woman can't fake comments, and she never once reached out to me or contacted me so I could spin my side of the story.
Good Doc back again. Let's lock in. Shout out to the brother, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, for sharing with us this particular viral video of this clinician slash therapist that went viral for encouraging black men to seek therapy. Everybody can agree that, you know, the ability to be able to express ourselves, we need that shit. But the way she delivered it and the way she basically called out men for being single and lonely based off of an article that she read. You guys can get the link in the description and watch the entire video. I'm only going to take clips. But basically what she was saying was based off of a filled with the Psychology Today magazine, which isn't even a reputable source to be getting your information. She was basically agreeing with an article that was written there and basically trying to tell men to expand their emotional vocabulary and all this stuff. Like she said, the delivery may not have been the greatest. Anybody who listens to it and all the profanity and all that stuff, the delivery may not hit like it's supposed to, but basically she felt like she got the conversation going. But yet and still, she was downing black men. Let's keep it a buck. You know, she was like, yeah, y'all need therapy, but y'all ain't doing shit. You telling women to raise their standards, but men aren't raising their standards with women. And, you know, she was still finding ways to throw those subtle jabs, right? She was still finding a way to throw those subtle jabs. Now, in fairness, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You know, we do a lot of blaming. We really do in the community. But I think overall, like I said, there is a such thing as self-accountability. And if you want to look within yourself, that's cool. If you want to say it's men's fault, you want to say it's women's fault. It is what it is, right? Nobody's going to sit there and take blame most of the time, right? You can't really expect a lot of people to sit there and accept where they are at fault. But what ends up happening is baby girl got fired from her job. And here's the kicker. Here is what really got me as she was explaining the reason why she got fired. It was a woman, I want to say an African-American woman, that wrote the article about her, divulging her information, where she worked at and whatever. All of her information that ended up getting her fired, but yet and still, she still found a way to blame black men. She still turned it around and said, y'all over here getting mad at me because I'm telling y'all to express yourselves and find a way to expand your emotional vocabulary, cussing as usual. And I get it though. Sometimes when you use profane language, that's the only way to get through to some people. Sometimes that's the only way people actually start to pay attention. I've learned that. At least when it comes to dealing with my own, you do understand that sometimes you got to use profane language to get your point across. But when you are a professional, from a professional standpoint, in a professional occupation, wherein you're there to specifically help other people get better, it's probably not the best to sit there and cuss them the hell out, right? It's probably not best. You might think you're doing it for a good reason. And again, your reasoning, that's on you, boo. But the fact is, you sitting there cussing people out. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Ain't nobody trying to go to therapy for you to cuss us out. Nobody go see a therapist if you're contemplating negative thoughts, you know, offing yourself or doing something like that. I don't like talking about it, but if you're thinking about suicide, right, or anything like that, or if you've gone through a situation that is emotionally taxing on you, the last thing you want is your therapist or the person that you're planning to see trying to gather some history on how they've helped people before. The last thing that you want to do is be around somebody who's going to cuss you out and basically kind of shit on you for whatever reason it may be. Yes, coming from a great place, I assume black men need therapy from time to time. I get it. Some of us, you know, if you're going through something traumatic, you know, and you don't have to suppress that shit, sometimes you need to talk about it. But like my man said, we can sit there and express ourselves in an emotional manner, but what tends to happen is when we start to do that shit, women seem to look at us in a different light. All right, it does depend on the type of young lady you're dealing with, but it does seem that women seem to look at you differently when you try to express yourself in an emotional manner or expand your emotional vocabulary. Riddle me this, Batman. How many times has a man been called weak, kind of a bitch, a beta, or anything like that because he expressed himself emotionally? Right? Sometimes that's frowned down upon. Unfortunately, it seems that it's only frowned down upon in our community, right? White guys can do it. I don't think nobody really shits on them for being emotional and stuff like that. Maybe other people can, but if you're from the African American community, some people are open to allowing a man to cry on their shoulder. But it don't happen very often, because if you cry too much, now all of a sudden you're weak, right? And it's going to get to the point where people are going to start to question, yo, was this man going to be in a position to be a protector, to be a provider, if this motherfucker want to sit around and cry all the time? Not to mention, the reason we're crying, if we're listening to this young lady in this video, is because we wanted to expand our emotional vocabulary, right? You see, there's always going to be a contradiction, guys. And yes, there are going to be some people that'll say it's okay for men to cry, right? You're going to have some people that are 100,000% okay with that, right? You're going to have some young ladies, because that's really much who it really affects, right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, a man, like I said, when he in his safe space, right, his comfort zone, when he around his boys ain't gonna judge him like a woman would, right? His boys, if you want to cry in front of your men, in front of your guys and shit, in front of your boys and shit, ain't nobody gonna let that shit leave the room. If they really with you like that, your boys and them ain't gonna let you get out of that situation, or they're not gonna let anything that happens in that particular situation get out, right? But you cry in front of a young lady, she gonna probably tell her girlfriends, yo, my man cried in front of me last night, this, that, and the other. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about that. It changes the way I look at him now. And you may sit there and tell me that it doesn't, ladies, but it really, really does. I think that depending on how this man cries in front of you, he might open himself up emotionally. But guess what? It does change the way you view men in their entirety, right? Men are meant to be masculine, and sometimes, to keep it a buck with you, crying is not considered masculine. We need to do it every now and again, get it off your chest, man, if you need to. If you're going through a situation where somebody close to you passed away, or you're dealing with some real hardship and shit, sometimes the emotions get the better of us, so it's gonna happen regardless. How it happens and who it happens in front of, most men can control that, and thus they do. They say that shit for the people that they know they can feel comfortable crying in front of. Family and their boys. I don't think men will cry in front of anybody else unless you've been with a woman like your wife or somebody for a significant period of time, and you've solidified that relationship and you feel comfortable enough to do it. Cool. But if you just knowing somebody or just getting to know somebody and you're not sure if you're comfortable enough to cry in front of her because you don't want to be basically accused of being a bitch, you're not gonna do it. So, to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen, baby girl got fired from a job. I don't think she deserved to lose her job, but you have to understand that people are not. Let me start here. It's amazing she got fired. I was surprised she got fired. I shouldn't be surprised she got fired, but I am surprised she got fired. Why? Because she is a black woman. And I'm not saying this to say this, but I'm saying this to say this, but usually those jobs are protected. So she must have done something to the point where she was a liability, right, to the company in order for them to let her go, because they're not going to let her go for any other reason unless she's a liability or risk, or there's legal reason to terminate employment, right? So now baby girl coming on here, she was talking about how, it opened up doors for me. Black women are strong and stuff like that, and this, that, and the other. And, I give her credit where credit is due. She seemed positive. But something in my mind tells me that as soon as that camera turns off, she's going to probably cry her ass off, right? She's going to express those emotions. And I want you to understand why. Because you can be strong in front of the camera, right? You can be the strongest person ever in front of the camera and sit there and show me that something ain't getting to you. But let me tell you something, baby girl. Your job is in jeopardy. You are a liability probably anywhere that you go now. So what are the odds that you're gonna get hired again? I like I said, I don't want nobody to lose their job, and I damn sure ain't trying to get in nobody's pockets, right? So I wouldn't have reported it. I just would have watched it and kept it pushing. But apparently, people who watched it took offense to it. And like I said before, it was a black woman who wrote the article about you, but you still found a way to spin it and blame black men. That was what got me in the entire thing, right? Again, you want to have that feminist energy, love? Keep that, right? And I hope it works out for you. But back to what I was saying, baby girl, chances are if you want to try to find a job again in the same career field, it's gonna be difficult, right? Because now you're out there, baby girl, you're viral. You're TikTok famous, right? People are talking about you. I'm talking about you. MTR's talking about you. I think Amazing Lucas covered you too, and probably a couple of other people that I know as far as, YouTubers are concerned, and I'm sure other people have talked about you. And again, they're talking about you. And to an extent, it's never in a negative light. People who may have taken offense to it, they gonna have their issues with you. It is what it is, right? It comes with the content, right? But the fact is, you're gonna find it hard to get another job. And the reason it's gonna be hard for you is because how many people are going to want to take you on as a liability? Now, if you're smart and you kind of entrepreneurialize this little movement that you have, the traction that you got, you might be able to make a whole social media therapist type of channel out of your shit. I think that might work for you, right? Because one thing that I notice about people, man, this is the beautiful thing about it all. 3 type of people show up to channels: the people who like you, the people who hate you, and the people who show up for the fuckery. So you're going to get a whole plethora of people coming to your channel if you choose to open up like a therapy type of YouTube channel or something like that. And I'm trying to see this in her near future. If she's trying to capitalize off of what she's doing or what type of traction she has as a result of her talking about black men needing to get therapy and opening up their emotional vocabulary, she could go live and, she might get hella super chats, man. Because trust me, I don't know what it is about women in YouTube channels, man. The super chats just flood, bro. Like money just fall out the air. It don't matter. And then you might have somebody who will hire you. Maybe. It just depends. But for me, guys, that's just my take on this one. I think it was an interesting story to cover. Viral's not always good. I realized that. I mean, there's a thing where people say there's no such thing as bad publicity. But in this case, it kind of is, man. In this case, it really is a such thing as bad publicity if I lose my main paying job as a result. Come on, buddy. Look, nobody in their right mind is trying to lose their main source of income. Yes, that does encourage us to go out there, be entrepreneurs, and do our own thing and make our own money. And a lot of my brothers are out there killing it. So big salute to all of y'all. But those that still rely on the man, aka like she said in the video, massa, to basically pay your bills and shit, you gotta conduct yourself accordingly, right? And unfortunately, some people took that the wrong way. And as a result, she got to suffer for it. Is it unfortunate? Yes. Because you never want anybody to get into somebody else's bag. But if you really don't like the delivery of somebody, some people will go out of their way to make your life miserable. I was actually shocked that they did that to a black woman. I was actually shocked that they actually did fire her. But like I said, they had to find a legitimate reason. I mean, affirmative action and all that shit. They found a loophole to get rid of her somewhere, and I thought that was a little interesting. And I'm just saying it to be funny. Let's not take it all serious. But you get what I'm saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let y'all rock, man. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. This has been a good talk, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. Time for the good doc to go and get the getting. Y'all take care, man. Y'all stay blessed, bro. Doc is out. Peace.